friends, welcome to GST Solution. My name is Rushik Desai. Friends, in our today's video, we are going to discuss about the provision with respect to refund under Goods and Service Tax Act, that is GST Act 2017. Friends, refunds are very important part of any tax legislations. Article 265 of our Constitution provides a base behind a refund. Article 265 says, no tax shall be levied or collected except without the authority of law. And hence, the refund under GST is sanctioned or given by this article, that is article number 265, and not with the section 54 of GST Act 2017. Friends, in our today's video, we are going to discuss section 54 of CGST Act 2017, which talks about refunds. Now friends, section 54, as already said, is not the section granting the refund. However, the procedural aspect has been given under section 54 of CGST Act 2017. Read with rule 89. Rules provides separate set of instructions, set of documentary evidences which are though required at the time of making the applications of refund. So friends, section 54 subsection 1 says that every person claiming refund of any tax or interest paid by him may make an application within the 2 years from the relevant date. It means अगर कोई भी registered person को refund claim करना है for any tax amount which has been excess paid to the government or otherwise, or any interest which has been paid on such tax, then he must make an application as per the rules prescribed to the government authority in form GST RFD 01 within the expiry of 2 years from the relevant date. Now, what is the definition of relevant date? So the definition of relevant date is different for different conditions. Say for example, if you are exporting the goods, the relevant date may be different. If you are exporting the services, the relevant date may be different. And similarly, it has been given in the explanation to section 54. There is one provision which is given after subsection 1 of section 54, which says that if any person has made an excess payment of tax to the government and the amount is standing in the cash ledger, then such person may claim a refund of such excess tax paid which is lying in his electronic cash ledger as per section 39, which means at the time of furnishing of returns. So at the time of furnishing the return, he may declare the same as an cash excess paid lying in his cash ledger, and he may claim the refund of such amount which is excess paid by him. So this is subsection 1. Moving further, subsection 2 says that any specialized agency of the United Nations organizations or multilateral financial institutions or an organizations notified under the United Nations Privileges and Immunities Act 1947, if they have paid the input taxes while procuring the inputs, then such persons may also claim a refund within expiry of 6 months from the quarter, that is from the last day of quarter in which the such supply was received by them. Coming to subsection 3, the most important and the most tricky sections, which says that a registered person may claim refund of unutilized input tax credit. However, subsection 3 starts with subject to provision of subsection 10. Now what is subsection 10? Subsection 10 is a withholding power given to the government officer for not giving the refund under certain circumstances. Now what are such circumstances? We shall go them one by one at the time of discussing subsection 10. As of now, we will be discussing about subsection 3 of section 54, which says that a registered person may claim a refund of unutilized input tax credit. Please underline the word unutilized input tax credit at the end of any tax period. At the end of any tax period means after completion of such tax period, the registered person may claim refund of such unutilized input tax credit. But at the time of applying the refund, the relevant date must be taken into the consideration. Further, it has been provided in subsection 3 that no refund of unutilized input tax credit shall be allowed in the cases other than zero rated supplies made without payment of tax, and where the credit has accumulated on account of rate of tax on inputs being higher than rate of output tax. Clause 1 says that the unutilized input tax credit, that is refund of unutilized input tax credit, shall be allowed only in two cases. One, when the registered person is making zero rated supplies, that is export of goods or export of services without payment of tax or with payment of tax, and where the rate of input is higher than rate of output, that is inverted duty structure. So only in these two circumstances, refund of unutilized input tax credit will be allowed by the officer, by the government. Other than this, no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed in any circumstances. Now friend, at the time of making export also, there has been two options which has been given to the registered person. One, he can make the payment of tax. He can make the payment of IGST on his export and claim the rebate of such IGST paid on export. Vis-a-vis, he may also have an option to furnish a LUT at the beginning of the financial year and execute all his export transactions without payment of tax under bond or LUT. Under these circumstances, the registered person will be allowed to get the refund of his unutilized input tax credit after making an application in Form GST RFD 01 with all other evidences and documents as required under Rule 89. Now friends, there has been a small provision also which has been given in subsection 3, and which says that no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed. Please note, no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed in the cases where the export of goods out of India is subject to export duty. That means if there is a certain goods which an SSE or a registered person is exporting, and on such goods there is an export duty specified, notified by the government, then in such cases refund of unutilized input tax credit shall not be available. There is another provision which says that no refund of input tax credit shall be allowed if the exporter claims the drawback in respect of central tax or claim refund of integrated tax paid on such goods. So these are the two provisions which has been given in subsection 3 of section 54. Other than this, all refunds of unutilized input tax credit should be allowed in the cases of zero rated export of goods or services, as well as the inverted duty structure, that is the rate of input being higher than the rate of output side. Now, how to make such application? What are the documents that shall be required? So there has been various circulars, there has been various notifications, there are separate set of rules which says that the refund applications has to be in Form GST RFD 01. Such refund application has to be supported with the proper documentary evidences. The documentary evidences here I mean to say is the copy of invoices, copy of shipping bill, the copy of EGM if you are exporting goods. In case if you are exporting services, then the copy of EBRC, the copy of invoices, the relevant purchase invoices, the sales invoices, and all such other documentary evidence which has been given under Rule 89. So subsection 4 of section 54 says that such application of refund shall be accompanied by such documentary evidence as may be prescribed to establish that such refund is due to the registered person. That means all the documentary evidences which supports your claim and justify your claim that such refund is eligible to the SSE or the registered person. Second, such documentary or other evidences so as to prove that the incidence of tax has not been passed on to the recipient or to the ultimate customer. So there is a small provision which has been also given in subsection 4 of section 54, which says that if the amount claimed as refund is less than 2 lakh rupees, in such a circumstances, the documentary evidence shall not be required, and only the declaration in that respect as the incidence of tax has been not passed over, that is the benefit has not been passed over to the customer, shall only suffice. And based on that, the processing officer will pass the refund claim. Subsection 5 says that if after completing the procedure and submitting an application, if the proper officer is satisfied that the refund is due to the applicant, he may make an order for passing the refund claim, and the amount so granted shall be credited to the fund as may be specified in section 57, which is a consumer welfare fund. Subsection 6 says that if the proper officer is satisfied that the refund application is due to the applicant, then he shall make an order granting 90% of the refund to the applicant within only 15 days from the date of applications of the refund, excluding the input tax credit which is provisionally accepted. So within 15 days, the applicant will get the 90% of the refund amount for which he has made an application. Further, balance 10%, that is at the time of final settlement of the refund claim, which is within 60 days from the date of application of refund, the proper officer will have to pass a proper refund order specifying the amount of input tax credit allowed as a refund and the amount which is ineligible as refund, which is recredited to the electronic credit ledger of the applicant. If the proper officer is satisfied that the refund is due to the applicant, then instead of crediting the same to the consumer welfare fund, that amount shall be directly paid to the applicant in the cases where the refund is on account of export of goods or export of services, where the refund is on account of unutilized input tax credit, where the refund is on account of tax paid in pursuance of section 77, or if there is any tax and interest amount paid by the applicant if he had not passed on the incidence of such tax and interest to any other person. So, coming to subsection 10, we already discussed that subsection 3 starts with a provision and with a condition that subject to condition of subsection 10. Now, what is the subsection 10? So, subsection 10 says that the government has a power to withhold the amount of refund in the cases where such refund is due to the applicant. However, he has not furnished any returns of earlier period, he has not paid any tax, or he has an outstanding liability of any tax, interest or penalty. In such a cases, the officer has a power to withhold the amount of refund, and he may ask the registered person to file all the pending returns as well as to fully pay all the amount outstanding on account of tax, interest and penalty. The officer also have an option to withhold or to deduct such amount of outstanding tax, interest and penalty from the amount of refund which is allowed, which is eligible or which is granted to the applicant. Further, there is also a provision which says that no refund of unutilized input tax credit or no refund shall be allowed in the cases where the amount of claim of refund is up to 1000 rupees. So, if there is a refund of amount which is up to 1000 rupees, then such refund may not be allowed to any of the applicant under any of the circumstances. As informed in our earlier video also, all the procedure under GST is in electronic mode, and such application of refund has also to be in electronic mode only. Further, there are certain challenges and issues in the refund process which we shall discuss in the next video. I hope you find this video very informative and useful. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks a lot, friends.